All right. Yuri, my brother, what's going on? Good to see you.
Hey Chris, good to see you, my friend.
I can't wait for our upcoming seminar. Before we get into that, though, how's life? How's wife? How's the kids? How's everything for you?
Life is can't complain. Life is good.
Hmm.
Kids are good. Kids are healthy. Um, you probably know I've left my corporate world, corporate job
Yes.
finally after 27 years. So definitely in a
Congrats.
transitional period
Hmm.
in my life. But I feel so good and so excited. I
Hmm.
feel extremely free. There's like a lot to be lifted off my chest, off my shoulders. I had a lot of anxiety. I shared that with you and personally in the workshop that we did together. Due to that, the fact that I was carrying so much, there's so much to talk about, but in general, my soul was dying in the corporate
Hmm.
world. I was really suffering on many different levels. Of course, it kept the show running, it paid the bills, which was a big part of it, but I had no idea how much stress it had on me
You know,
until it actually finally ended. So I'm excited to figure out a way how to go forward from here, but I definitely know which way I want to go.
good. Congrats on all that. You've been traveling a lot, looks like. You've been doing workshops across the country.
I've been doing quite a bit during the summer months, as usual. That's when the kids and the family is taken care of, and I can do that kind of travel. But ever since we got back together here in Miami and our school year started, I haven't been doing much, a lot of travel. I got a couple of events coming up here in Miami and a couple in Naples.
Hmm.
Got some retreats planned, a little bit of travel there, but for the most part, I'm just really enjoying being with the kids, and um, you know exactly what I mean. I had this kind of shift. I saw them get older, especially my boys, and I kind of felt like they're phasing out and they're already going on their own. And then there was this shift. It was another 180 degree where I feel like, wow, they're re-engaging even more with me, and I'm re-engaging even more with them now that I'm even more entrenched into like
Yeah.
being with them and being even more by their side as they're getting into their kind of teen years
Hmm.
and being even more connected to them now. So I'm like totally focusing on going fishing with them and playing basketball and planning some trips and really like there's my oldest son is really starting to ask these deep freaking questions that I'm like, whoa, how do you know this type of
Hmm.
stuff? So I'm just loving it.
That's amazing. Do you think some of your soul searching has rubbed off on him?
I think so. I say, I've put him on to like Joe Rogan podcast. We would like drive somewhere. He's like, oh, put on Joe Rogan, and I would like literally give him like the best stuff what I think he needs to hear like about the truth.
Yep.
So he's been slowly but surely picking up on that stuff and asking me about the government and all these things like, well, why is it like that? I'm like, good question, Victor.
Good.
Why is it like that? Yeah.
Very important questions to ask.
Mm.
Do they ever travel with you when you it's like I know you've done Hawaii a couple times. Do they go out with you?
They've traveled with me, I think, once or twice to one of our events in the Naples, right?
Hmm. Yes.
They've been there.
Hmm.
They've been with me to some events in on the East Coast and in Hawaii, but they're getting older. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm
Yeah.
always happy to have them if they
Yeah,
want to
that's
come.
cool. Yeah. Yeah, we had Andre at one of the events too. That was interesting. When is
Yeah.
your what are your next retreats coming up?
My next retreat is coming up in December 11th to the 14th. That's going to be in the Catskills. That retreat is almost sold out. We have two spots left for there. I'm also going to be planning some excursions to Alaska. That's probably going to be next year.
Oh wow. That would be amazing.
Also in
I
talks
want to
with
do that.
doing some Poland excursions,
Hmm.
but Alaska will be like, I went to Alaska this past summer
Hmm.
for this program. I got certified and I became an ambassador for. It's a Cold Club certification. Matt Soul who is the founder of the Cold Club. He's one of the kind of old school teachers of the Wim Hof Method. He left the Wim Hof Method Academy and now started his own brand, which is the Cold Club.
Hmm.
And so through that, the I picked up a lot of new skills
Hmm.
in training for the cold and also the heat. So coupling hot and cold therapy for stress management. So stress management tools, working with elite sports athletes, and going a little bit more deeper and in depth into all these various breathing techniques and how to apply them in various different situations. Because, we all already spoke about this, that we're individuals, right? It's not a one size fits all approach. Wim Hof method is great, but it's also great to be able to tweak it and apply it in various different situations, fine tune it, and there's all this stuff out there, right? It's not just one thing. It's a
Right.
combination of all these things, and
Hmm.
we're all very different human beings and in different stages and points in our lives where we also need to listen to our body. There's the aspect of seasons, right? There's the
Hmm.
winter when we can go a little bit, more heavy with certain things, but lay back on other stuff, and then the summer and the spring and the fall and also regions where we live. Me and you're in Florida. Some people live in the colder regions. All these things need to be considered when practicing all these holistic tools.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one point that drives me crazy because I'm always on Reddit in, the Wim Hof subreddit, I think there's a Becoming the Iceman, and it's I know you and I have talked about this a lot. I just feel like people are trying to always beat the clock. I can't stand that. Like I was only able to do 10 and I wasn't shivering or, like
Hey,
everyone thinks they need to shiver. I'm like, no, when you shiver, get out. Maybe you
that's
can speak
right.
to that, like some of this meatheadery that's going on with the cold plunging.
Yeah, yeah. Me and you always say that it's a big no-no. The people just get into their heads and they feel like, oh, they're just gonna push through that thing. I'm gonna
Yeah,
stay an extra minute
that's
because
not
my
what it's
buddy
about.
stayed in there. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. It's not like exercising. Like people come to me as a client, as a patient, because of ego lifting. They're just like always trying to beat the number. And so you have to listen to your body's cues. That's how you run into trouble. So, but before we get too much into that, will you describe the Wim Hof method for the listeners? Because we do have an upcoming event, and that's one of the reasons we're on the call. So can you just give them like kind of the 2 minute or 1 minute elevator pitch?
Wim Hof method is basically very simple, but very powerful way to apply it. It's three
Pillars.
three pillars. That's right. Thank you. It is a really powerful breathing technique that's energizing. It's meant to bring a lot of energy into your body. There's the aspect of the cold, understanding the cold. So with Wim Hof method, people what they miss is not understanding how to really tune in into the body with the cold, right? So it's understanding how your body reacts to the cold, what happens to you in the cold, what happens to you after the cold, how do you heat up the body after the cold. It's also a very important aspect. So there's the cold exposure pillar. And the main pillar, which is the mindset, and this the forgotten pillar,
Mhm.
mindset. The number one pillar, okay? It is your ability to step outside of your comfort zone, your ability to overcome your mind that says, I don't want to get into the cold, I don't want to take that cold shower, or thinking that I'm not able to do it, right? So that we're gonna work on that aspect of the mental aspect of overcoming your mind and saying that I am and that I can and that I'm able to do it and how to proceed with that. So very simple three aspects, and when they're combined, it's like yoga. What is yoga? Well, it's a combination of body, mind, and spirit, unification. Well, think of that as the same as the Wim Hof method, unification of the three pillars. Each one of them won't be as great as the sum of all three. So when you combine all three, really magic happens.
Yeah, and that's what I've seen. I've seen some because this is I think are going to be like our seventh workshop, I believe. I've seen a lot of interesting reactions, especially with the breath work. In fact, the one that cracks me up the most is my brother. There, because
Yeah.
he's come to what, 3 or 4 workshops. They did the retreat, and every time. So the first time this happened, we're doing the breath work, and for those of you that have never done like Wim Hof style, Breath work, it kind of puts you into a deeper state of consciousness, which maybe we can talk about in a bit. And you get interesting things coming out, people laughing, crying, whatever. So I'm sitting there laying down, eyes closed, doing the breath work, and I just hear this maniacal laughter. I'm like, oh my God, who is that? And then we got done. It was my brother. It didn't even like I know his laugh, obviously. It didn't even sound like him. And every single time he breaks out in that maniacal laughter, and it's like his depression completely lifts for 6 months or so he says. So, what other kind of reactions have you seen that have been a little eye-opening?
Well, obviously, there's been so much, Chris. I mean, I've seen people laugh, I've seen people cry, I've seen people journal right after and just have so many insights that would come through. Um, and for the most part, the biggest ones is the emails and the messages I would get after,
Hmm.
where a lot of people don't feel like they want to share right in that moment, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They would come back with these insights and they would have a chance to reflect on them. And this would be like life-changing stuff. It would be things that would come up from their childhood, realizations about relationships with their either deceased or still living parents and or
Hmm.
siblings, and stuff that would be like profound. And they would have some questions and reflections. And I would say that would be like just the most profound stuff is that the people would really change their lives in a matter of a session, where they would have realizations that they
Yep.
never thought was possible. And this is one of the explanations when I talk about the breath work is that we our conscious mind only holds very little information, right? But our subconscious mind holds all the information since the day we are born until now, and a lot of it is just hidden underneath all these layers. Some of it is on purpose, some of them is just happens the way it is. And the breath work, the way we do it, it is able to bring up all the stuff that we have
Hmm.
kind of swept under the carpet or became hidden, and it comes up to the surface. And then we're able to either just view it and witness it, and then maybe interpret it and understand it and transform from it.
Yeah. The way I kind of see it is, like if you have a buddy who's maybe like kind of screwing up and like kind of everybody can see what's going on with this person except for he can't see it himself. That someone has to almost tell him. I feel like the breath work has a ability for you to step back and kind of look at yourself and analyze what's really going on. Just through breathing, it was pretty incredible to me.
Mm,
So that certainly happened to me. I've seen it happen to with one of my coworkers that, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but she took a complete right angle turn and just completely changed her life for the positive. So it's just incredible what happens in these workshops.
that's right.
Yeah,
Beautiful thing.
yeah,
And,
it
and
is.
and sometimes it takes a kick in the butt, and we say you don't have to do the cold, right? It's option, it's optional. The breath work can be optional for you too, but then at the same time, why are you coming, right? I mean, for some people it could be difficult, right? Because some things is gonna bring up. But if you really wanna like tap in, if you really want to heal your traumas, or if you know that something is there and you're ready to step forward, well, it it may not be just like an easy walk in the park, but that's why it works. So just maybe you want to do the breath work and go from there. And then if you feel like you are confident enough to take that cold plunge, let's do it. But if you're not ready, that's okay. We're not forcing anybody. There's gonna be no peer pressure for you to do it. But let me tell you, it's an empowering experience, and you try it once, and then for the most time, people get hooked on it. Like I don't like the cold. Like you ask him, he doesn't like the cold. I don't. I have a cold plunge in my apartment. I don't want to do it, but I know what it does for me. It's 2 minutes of my time, and then a full day of more energy, more connection, more clarity, more presence. And that's why I do it. It's not easy, but I do it.
This path is only like 2 minutes of your time. Like a workout, maybe it takes an hour and you still get that payoff, but this is 2 minutes. But I'll never forget the first seminar you did here. I didn't really know anything about the Wim Hof method. I even raised my hand and said, I am not getting in that cold plunge. I moved here from Boston because I
I
hate the
remember.
cold. But sure enough, I tried it, and here I am, like 3 years later. I plunge probably every other day at least. I've gone so far as to build my own cold plunge. It's on demand with a filter and chiller and everything. Like I got so into it. So yeah, it completely morphed my life.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful, like we've since then it's been probably 3 or 4 years, right? And the
Hmm.
technology has shifted so much and the market has changed. We're gonna tell you guys how to, if you want to build your own cold plunge, we can give you the plans and we can tell you how to do it under $500, maybe
Yeah,
even less.
yeah. I built a nice one that looks nice, and that cost me about $1,200. But I kind of did it up. So yeah, there's some good options out there.
That's
I
right.
was I was hoping we get into the science for just a little bit, just on the breath work, just because it fascinates me, and I've been trying to understand why, on a physiologic level, can you tap into deeper states of consciousness. So let me tell you what I know, and maybe you can fill in any gaps or tell me what I'm missing. So when you inhale oxygen, you become more alkalinic. As CO2 builds up, you become more acidic. So let's make sure I got
Hmm.
that right. Right.
Yep.
So the when you do the initial breathing, you're changing your blood gases to have more O2. So you're in respiratory alkalosis, right? And then you do that breath hold, then you're kind of flipping the switch. Now CO2 is climbing, you're becoming acidic, right? And then you blow it off and you start to breathe again, and then you're going back to alkalosis, and then another breath holds acidosis. So you're kind of going back and forth, playing with the extremes of your pH of your bloodstream. Is that correct?
pH, yes, but I also refer to the nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
sympathetic, parasympathetic. So
Mm-hmm.
when we are breathing, right, we're really stimulating the sympathetic nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And- but when we're holding the breath, oxygen levels are going down and the CO2 levels are not. CO2 is actually what is necessary for us to be in meditation, for us to be in parasympathetic state. We're getting into the parasympathetic nervous system. Or,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like we're in one nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, it's always off balance. We're teeter-tottering.
Mm-hmm.
More parasympathetic, more sympathetic. And we're always kind of like fluctuating between the two. So we're
Yeah.
leaning into this side, and then we're breathing again, we're leaning into this side more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking of like a yin
But
yang.
absolutely right. We are alkalizing our blood in the process. And it's the scientific data is not that it stays alkalized for a long time. I think maybe 10 minutes,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But it is still enough for you to be able to intentionally, right? So this is where that other aspect is our intention. When we get behind what we're doing, when we're really putting our intention into what we're doing, that shift. We can cure ourselves, we can release some stuff and on and on and on. We can
Yeah.
talk more about that.
Yeah, I've been very like obsessed with the autonomic nervous system lately. I'm really diving into autoimmune disease. Is the way I see autoimmunity is a dysregulation of or an imbalance of these systems. So what's really interesting is that we used to think the autonomic nervous system was autonomic. We had no control over it. But that's what one of the things that Wim found is you can learn to start to play with it and have some control over your nervous system. So what really fascinates me, is there a place for breath work and autoimmune disease? I think the answer is absolutely. So I don't know, just where my head goes with this type of stuff. I love this kind of like to nerd out on that.
Chris, I'll tell you, I'll go even further. I'll tell you, breathwork has a place everywhere. In fact, it needs to be before you can go anywhere else. And I've learned this from Paul Chek at the Czech Institute. Um, the breath is the number one healing. It is at the top of the totem pole. So there's all these systems, human body systems that we're working with, and the breath is at the top because if we have a dysfunctional breathing pattern, if we're not breathing properly, forget about even like breath work techniques. If we're chest breathers, if we're mouth breathers, if we're have sleep apnea, if we're breaking up in the middle of the night, if we're waking up in the morning with a dry mouth, guess what is happening?
You're
We're
sleeping.
having dysfunctional breathing patterns,
Mhm.
and the end result is the stuck metabolic waste in our bodies. Okay, so just there. Okay? We are getting sicker and sicker, more acidic, uh more down into the trenches. So we need to, first of all, work on fixing the breath, making sure that we're having these proper belly, stimulating the vagus nerve, vagal tone, all these things that are meant for us to be relaxed. And when we're relaxed, all this magic happens, right? So
Yeah.
the parasympathetic nervous system, how does the body heal itself, Chris? It just does it. We're not doing anything. It's breathing us. We cut ourselves. The skin repairs itself, right? We just got to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, that's
Allow
exactly it.
ourselves to be in just a relaxed, calm state.
Yeah, and I
The
just feel
breath
like
is the way.
most people are in a chronic low grade stressed fight or flight state. I know as a therapist, I'd say 90, I always will look at how someone breathes. As soon as they lay down on the table, I don't tell them. I just look at how they breathe and I'd say 90% are chest dominant. And then when you point out and then try to teach them how to belly breathe. I mean, it's so hard to teach someone how to belly breathe because they've been doing it a certain way for who knows, 40 years. And just to get someone to activate their diaphragm, it's incredibly difficult at times.
Yes,
You know?
yes. But we're gonna share techniques at the workshop. If somebody does come in with a dysfunctional breathing technique, 9 out of 10 times we're able to fix it right there on the
Yeah,
spot with a very simple tool that we use at the workshop.
good. You're gonna have to teach me how to do that because that's always a challenge for me, especially with my older folks.
For sure.
Um, all right, so now it's been years of you doing the Wim Hof method and yoga, and what have you learned? What's changed in your life, or what do you? I guess is a big question. Um, what would you say in the past 5 years you've realized through all these workshops?
Wow, what a good question. Wasn't ready for this one, but
Sorry, it was a
but
big one.
let's think. I mean, maybe who's gonna think out loud. What have I seen? I've seen people come from all walks of life. It's just been like, people, single moms, high stress executives, people in the corporate world, guys into sports, athletes, girls, young. I've seen kids as young as 8 years old come with their parents, and we just guide them in very slowly into these practices. And then we've had, people in their 70s and I think in 80s
Hmm.
take the dips and do breath work. I think the biggest takeaway for me is people are amazing. Like people are beautiful. And if I had learned one thing is that I, for the most part, should be stepping away even more and more and allowing the people to be themselves at these workshops. Of course, I'm sharing and I'm answering questions, but for the most part, I'm aiming to just get the hell out of the way because the people that come together, they're bringing this energy and container to share with each other. I am there to hold the space, to kind of do my thing. But for the most part, I'm just witnessing and watching all these beautiful things just happen in front of my eyes. And sometimes, well, most of the time, realizing like I'm not doing anything. I am simply bringing these people together and allowing them to be themselves. So whatever the gifts they came to share, or maybe sorrow or trauma or whatever, to allow them to bring it to service so that we can all look and reflect. And that's the healing. This is like that is the true healing of it all, of the Wim Hof method, of the stress management, of these
Hmm.
different types of breath retreats. That is the true healing, the human connection, the 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 permission to be ourselves with each other, the allowing us for us to be vulnerable.
Hmm.
That is the king, the
Yeah,
king of kings.
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, doing it in a group is definitely doing it different than doing it on your own. But you are definitely very good at facilitating that. Andrew and I always talk about that because you know how to speed someone up, slow them down, to get out of the way, kind of like you said. But you really do a good job at setting the tone as well because you start off with your own vulnerability. And I think that really sets up the workshop perfectly.
Thanks, brother. I have plenty of stuff, plenty of stuff, let's say, inside, outside. I've been holding some stuff on the inside, throughout my life, and And through these workshops, I've also been able to use it as a healing tool for myself, where
Hmm.
I'm sharing what's happening in my life and my personal relationships in my past life, where I've struggled, where I still sometimes struggle. It's all part of my life. So I'm grateful for to be able to be part of these sharing circles where I get to heal my trauma.
Yeah. You're just like 10 steps ahead of everybody else, I feel like.
I don't know, Chris. I'm just where I am. We're all just like not ahead. No, we're just in our own spot.
Yeah. Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Have you thought about that?
Ooh, 5 years. Where physically, I would love to be able to have some kind of property where I can spread our wings. Our family has grown, and our apartment where we live is really too small. I'm hoping that we can find a way to be in a house where we can have space. Maybe that place will be also serve as a retreat where I can gather people and also be part of my work. Um, I've been thinking a lot about this actually. I've been thinking a lot about it. My main thing is I would still that's not a non-negotiable for me is that it has to be my passion. It has to be coming from the heart, and I'm not like dragging it out of me. I have to do it, or I have to do 10 retreats a year. I have to do 30 or 40 workshops. That is something that I don't want. I still
Yeah.
want to be loving doing it. I still want to be doing it with my full heart. So whatever that is, wherever that takes me into a business side of more of a business side of the holistic health practices, I'm open to it as long as my heart is still in it, my soul is in it, and I'm doing it with the people that I love. And it's only going towards the benefit of humanity and the collective.
Yep. It's all about
But
balance. That's always the hard thing to achieve in life is balance. Good.
we'll see. I'm just, very, very few months out from leaving the corporate world, so kind of still, you know, still thinking and reflecting a lot on the last 27 years, and it was a big part of my life. So I'm sure it's going to be a gradual process for me. I'm one of those people, Chris, that if you probably know, um I'm a marathon runner. I'm not a sprinter.
Hmm.
So I
That's the
take my
way to do it.
time.
Yep. The small
This
changes over
one
time. That's what matters.
and commented Nina that she's playing her own turtle game. I told her, listen, I've got my own turtle game going and I own it. I'm taking my time and I enjoy taking my time also. I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. I
Good.
like where I am.
Good. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to our workshop. So let's throw out those details and we can wrap up here. So our upcoming workshop is a Saturday, October 25th, 12 to 5 in Naples, Florida. Show Me Strength is the name of the gym. We'll put a link in the notes so everybody can take a look and read more about it. I think are you doing Marco as well this time?
Gonna be Marco Island on Sunday.
Mhm. Which, go ahead and tell the details about that.
That's gonna be in Soul Project Yoga
Hmm.
on Marco Island. I did one event there a couple of years ago. Beautiful studio, beautiful owner, Abby Holland, just a good person. So I'm happy to have you here or there or
Hmm.
anywhere. Or you guys decide to come, we should have a beautiful time together.
Yep. Abby reached out to us. She wants to do a collaboration, so maybe that's in the future, hopefully. So that could be pretty cool. But
Beautiful.
all right, Yuri. Well, I look forward to our workshop. I can't wait to see you, brother. And
Same, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you soon.
all right, talk to you later.
Big hug.